Good day. Welcome into a fresh hour of First Take. Kimberly Martin joining us. So good to see you. Keyshawn Johnson still here. Stephen A. Smith. I'm Molly Karen Rose. We have breaking news. Aaron Rodgers has tested positive for COVID-19. As Tom Pelissero reported, he will be out Sunday versus the Chiefs. The Packers are 7-1. Stephen A., we'll go around the table starting with you. Your reaction?
Well, it's unfortunate. I mean, it's not major. They're 7-1. If they were to lose the game to Kansas City, which, by the way, I'm not sure they will. We'll see what Jordan Love's made of. But it's just one game. They'd be 7-2, worst case scenario. If this were an injury that was going to leave him out for weeks or whatever, that's fine. But he just out because he got the Rona. I mean, that's what it is. He got the Rona. He came down with the Rona, hanging around with the Raw team, probably Pat McAfee. Well, we know. I love Pat. I just played around. No, but Pat around. I mean, listen, I'm watching Pat on SmackDown. I thought you're doing a good job, but you're hanging around with a bunch of people now. I mean, Pat McAfee's around a lot of people. Okay, so I'm just saying, even though that was a video interview that he did with Aaron Rodgers, as opposed to being in person, I'm just saying you got the Rona somehow, some way. Can't happen to any of us. We got the Rona.
Go back to the craziest thing you said.
He got the Rona.
Go back to the craziest thing you said, which is this is not a big deal.
It's not a big deal.
It's not a big deal to me either.
It's
not a big deal to me either.
So why are you looking at me like that?
Keyshawn agrees with you.
No, I'm saying is you looking at me like you looking at me, but you just look at him with the regular look. So you just getting the regular look. You looking at me like I'm crazy.
Wait, because it's just one game? That's what you're saying?
Yeah, the reason I say that is if we're talking about on the field and that part of it, it's one game. And when you start to look at the teams that are potentially in front of them, Arizona, they took care of in a head-to-head. The New Orleans Saints, we don't know what that's getting ready to be, right? So if for whatever reason they lose to Kansas City, they could still be in a perfect position with one of them top seeds, and they're going to win.
Before you go on, Kim, let me be very clear, okay? It's COVID, so
it's COVID.
There's a level of seriousness that needs to take to it. I'm not trying to minimize COVID. I was just saying that we see NFL players, they tested positive, they're coming back in 1 week. I don't mean to imply that, COVID's not serious.
Right.
So let me make sure I get that.
Not that
people just run with it. I'm just talking about NFL players being gone for a week.
Okay. In a stacked NFC, though, like I understand, like you don't want to drop one game, period. You want first-round buys. Like you want to be the team.
No question, there's only one of them. There's only one first-round buy.
Yeah, but you want to be the team that gets it.
Yeah, no question.
So to me, to think, but here's the thing. This is what Green Bay wanted, right? They wanted to turn the page.
So now
Jordan
they get a
Love era. So now we're going to see. We're going to see
against
exactly.
a bad defense.
But they did look better. The Chiefs' defense looked better last week. Better.
This is a game the Chiefs need. Forget. Did they bounce back against the Giants? No, the Giants wins didn't save their season. They've got to show against good teams that they can come back and actually be the Chiefs that we know them to be.
Okay, Keyshawn, talk to me about Jordan Love. Do you think he can get the win against Kansas City in Kansas City? What do you know about him?
In fact, he is the starter on Sunday.
Yeah.
I think he can do it. Reason is Lazard should be back as well as Devontae Adams. Okay. So you got the full arsenal of players there. The only thing that you don't have is that quarterback, and that quarterback is a big don't.
Oh,
that's a huge don't. That's a huge don't.
But we can find out. We can use this to find out a little bit more about those Green Bay Packers in terms of their legitimacy. I mean, after all, Scantling's scheduled to be back. I believe he is. Lazard is scheduled to be back. I believe he is. And so if you have that going on, all right, we're gonna find out about Jordan Love. We're going to find out a little bit more about the defense.
They're going to be missing the Tonyan, though.
Okay, you're going to Tonyan, he's out. Again, is Devontae Adams back?
I believe he will be.
He might be. We think he is, but we think their three receivers are going to be back. Okay? We think they got a defense, and we think they got a quarterback of the future, but we don't know. So guess what? We're about to find out what you're going to do without that bad man.
Okay, the devious one. We'll leave it on that note. Are you in a soap opera? Sure seems like it.
It almost seems
building
like
the drama. And almost like a villain. The NFL trade deadline has come and gone, and Odell Beckham Jr. is still a Cleveland Brown. Things getting a little bit messy. Odell's father posting a video on social media early Tuesday highlighting times when Browns quarterback Baker Mayfield didn't throw the ball to Beckham when he was open. Odell Beckham Sr. then responded with 3 green check marks in the comment section of a post that said Mayfield was either hating on Odell or he just doesn't want him shining. Cleveland's favorite son, LeBron James, adding this, tweeting, OBJ will show again why he's special wide receiver 1, free OBJ. Kimberly, you are very dialed in. to NFL locker rooms, to front offices,
and the
Browns. You bet a lot of Browns games.
Yeah.
From the conversations you're having, do teams see Odell still as that guy, that superstar #1 receiver?
No. And that's not me saying it. Teams, the feedback I get on Odell is he's declined to he's still a good player. That's not how we used to describe Odell. He's still a good player. As much as some GMs are surprised, they're like, I'm a little surprised no one wanted him. These guys aren't giving up draft capital or paying his salary to get him to join their team. So the market dictates whether teams see players as top free agents, wide receiver ones. And right now, like I've been saying for weeks, they were not going to trade Odell because you need another trade partner. You need a team that says we've got the resources to pay that salary. And we have the roster room and the depth to say like, hey, we're an Odell away from being a championship team. And right now, there weren't any.
Well, the New Orleans Saints tried to make a push at it. They just couldn't come to financial terms on both sides to get it done. Is he a #1 still? Depends on the system and the circumstance, I would say. Having played the position, when I look at Cleveland, again, like I said to you earlier, Stephen A., it's the quarterback and Kevin Stefanski's job to make him the #1. They've got to make a determination and a decision that I'm going to get him the football at all costs. For whatever reason, over the last several weeks, they have not tried to make it a point to get him the football. When you only have 2 targets, and I know the one across the middle last week, he kind of alligator-armed it. I get it. You're jumping in the air with a safety bearing down on you, and you coming off an ACL, you're like, well, wait a minute. Ball slightly thrown behind me a little bit. I'm not willing to risk that. I think at the right situation, he could be a 1. In the right situation, though.
But the fact that you're questioning it, I don't want to misconstrue what you're saying, but a Super Bowl champion receiver, and this guy was supposed to be the best receiver in the NFL, and now at this point, I never thought we'd be questioning is if he is even a 1 at this point.
But it's not his talent.
Yeah.
It's the injuries. And anybody who in the front office is talking to Kim and telling them that, they need to let her know it's the injuries. It's not his talent. Right. It's the injuries. Every time you look up, something's wrong with him. Something's wrong with him. Right. So now you factor that into the equation of he's not a 1 anymore. So if he's fully healthy in the right situation, for sure he could still be a 1,200-yard type receiver, 8 touchdown guy.
Right, absolutely. And right now he's swearing that he's 100% healthy, that he's running fast and he feels good and all of this other stuff. I don't know whether that's true or not. It remains to be seen. By the way, Molly and Kim, y'all are blinding me. So much ice. So much ice. But there's a difference.
You probably got something under your wrist.
He just used this as an opportunity to push that wrist.
There you go. That's nice.
That was a little more subtle. The full face. The full face is down.
I'm just saying, this is blind to me. Anyway, the point that I was trying to make is Odell Beckham Jr. just needs to get the hell up out of Cleveland. To me, it's not about football. It's about his relationship with a quarterback that's virtually non-existent. It's about a quarterback that he believes has an ego and doesn't want him to succeed. You can't, and Keyshawn knows this, I ain't got to even ask him. You can't be a receiver feeling that way about your quarterback.
No, you can't.
And you in that locker room.
No,
you can't do that. Now, I've seen receivers that are in locker rooms and sad as hell. Their quarterback's the nicest guy in the world. They love the guys.
You can't play.
They just can't play.
Can't play dead count with me.
And so they love the guy personally, but professionally, like, he can't throw. You see what I'm saying? That's not what's going on here. Not only does Odell Beckham Jr. feel that Baker Mayfield is a bit challenged when it comes to working through your progressions and making the right throws, but he believes there's an ego issue. And the combination of those two things and being in that locker room with things having snowballed to some degree in the manner that it has, ladies and gentlemen, he got to go. And keeping him in Cleveland.
To where?
Listen to me.
For what?
I'm just saying.
At the end of the year.
I mean,
it's going to be the end of the year. I'm just saying. But listen, Odell would say the money don't matter at this point because I got to go back out there and earn it anyway because they're going to let me go at the end of the season save $15 million. So I got to go someplace, and I want to go to the place where I want to go. His whole thing is that there's just misery there. And while you're there, enduring this level of misery, because things have already imploded, it ain't going to get better with him there.
Can't do your
A matter of fact, you already helped create a narrative that it is better without Odell Beckham Jr. Remember when he was going and everybody was talking about how much better Baker looked? Remember they were talking about that?
Yeah.
How can you ignore it?
All right, we'll have more on that after, guys. More on the breaking news about Aaron Rodgers testing positive for COVID-19. Don't go anywhere. Adam Schefter will be joining us with the latest. Stay here. It's First Take. Positive for COVID-19 as first reported by Tom Pelissero. He's out Sunday versus the Chiefs. Adam Schefter just tweeting that, and he joins us live right now. Adam, thank you so much for being with us this morning. What are you hearing?
Well, Molly, there's a situation where the Green Bay Packers played Thursday night, and they've had a number of positive tests in Green Bay. We saw Davante Adams placed on the reserve COVID list after testing positive. We saw Allen Lazard be a close contact to Davante Adams. We saw the Packers' backup quarterback, Kurt Bankert, test positive and be placed on the reserve COVID-19 list. And clearly somewhere along the way, Aaron Rodgers contracted the virus and tested positive for COVID-19 and now is out Sunday against the Kansas City Chiefs. And so, first and foremost, you hope that Aaron Rodgers is okay. But from a football standpoint, Jordan Love now takes over at quarterback against the Kansas City Chiefs. And Aaron Rodgers and Patrick Mahomes never had met in a game before. This was the game that they were supposed to meet and play against for the very first time. That's not going to happen now. And now the question will be whether or not Aaron Rodgers makes it back for the next week against the Seattle Seahawks, that Russell Wilson might be back for after having the pins taken out of his finger. But the Packers will get a look at what their future could potentially look like, what this season could have looked like if Jordan Love had taken over. Jordan Love obviously will make his first NFL start here, and it'll be at Kansas City in a tough environment against the Chiefs, who are coming off a Monday night victory against the Giants.
Adam, really quickly, and then I know Keyshawn and Stephen A. want to get in on this. Are there any other big-name players on the Packers that were close contact that could also be sidelined due to COVID for this Chiefs game?
I was just told this morning there are no other positive tests. There are no other close contacts at this time. We see this shift. If you remember when Davante Adams tested positive, it was the next day that Allen Lazard was deemed a close contact. And the NFL has the technology and such that it can always find close contacts. But right now, you've got Kurt Bankert out, you've got Aaron Rodgers out, so Jordan Love is the only quarterback left on the Packers roster heading into Sunday's game. Now, if he were to test positive, the Packers would find themselves in a situation a little bit like the one the Denver Broncos had against the New Orleans Saints when they had no quarterbacks, and they were ruled out the day before the game. So Green Bay obviously is going to have to add a quarterback to its roster no matter what happens here, if nothing else to take reps in practice. But Jordan Love is the only one active currently on the Packers roster right now.
Adam, wouldn't you think that they would try and sign somebody as soon as possible now that they know that Aaron's not going to play?
Oh, they're going to have to do that, I would think, today, Key. I mean, that's not going to be a surprise or a secret. They're going to have to get somebody in there, somebody that probably knows the system well, somebody that probably, my guess would be, that was with them in training camp. A quarterback that they let go, they'll bring back so that somebody has some degree of familiarity with their offense. So the quarterbacks, literally the story just came down. I have to look, who are with the team in camp, who spent some time with them, and I'd be surprised one of them is not back right now.
Adam Schefter, appreciate you being on the show, buddy. Please forgive me if this is an ignorant question, but I've just found myself curious about it. It said that right now it's only Aaron Rodgers. There's been no contact tracing. He's the quarterback. They just finished playing the game. He was around everybody. There's no contact tracing at all? That's what they're saying?
They're doing the contact tracing. I'm just telling you that as of this morning, Stephen A., nobody else has been deemed a close contact. That doesn't mean that somebody can't be deemed a close contact later today, tomorrow, this week, that somebody else couldn't test positive. Again, clearly the virus is going through the Packers organization. The defensive coordinator, Joe Barry, didn't make the trip to Arizona last week. He had the virus. So there are people there that have gotten it, and I can't tell you how it's going to play out later today or tomorrow. As of this moment right now, there are no other positive tests and no other close contacts. But it's also the player's day off, and sometimes those who are unvaccinated are testing at home. So we don't know how that's going to go.
Yeah. But the NFL has done an exceptional job this season, and we just want everybody to be healthy, and hopefully Aaron will be back on the field soon. Adam, thank you so much for being with us, and we'll continue to chat with you as more information comes in.
Thank you for having me, guys.
All right.
Okay. Keyshawn, one thing that he said that I found very interesting is we talked about, and I know Kimberly Martin with us earlier was joking, like, one game, it's still a big deal. You guys are saying one game, much ado about nothing, but he could potentially miss the Packers game also.
You mean the Seattle game?
Excuse me. Yes, the Seattle game. So it's Chiefs and then Seahawks. Things get a little different then.
Yeah, the good thing about it is Jordan Love, let's just assume that he has to miss the Seattle game too.
Okay.
The good thing is Jordan Love will have some snaps underneath his belt. So he too will have now 2 weeks with the first team in reps. And as long as you have the nucleus there of Aaron Jones and Devontae Adams and Lazard and a defense that plays okay at times, and the play caller and Matt LaFleur, you should be okay to weather the storm. Backups don't. 2 games, 3 games for a backup, you're okay. You usually can go 2-1 depending on that talent. When you start to get into the meat of the season and that carries on, that's when you get into trouble. When he starts missing 5 and 6 and 7 games, that's when you look on and you say, yeah, they're not going to be very good. But 1 or 2 games, they might be okay.
That's where your mind is. You know, my mind's in a different place. First things first, before I even get into that, make sure Aaron Rodgers is all right. Because we certainly wish him nothing but the best, hope for a speedy recovery on this part, hoping that nobody else gets COVID.
Yeah.
All right. Having said all of that, I'm very interested and curious to see the Green Bay Packers without him. I love the fact that Jordan Love is going to be in that starting lineup with a couple of these receivers, at least a couple of them back.
Yeah.
I want to see. Because now
it will look different to you to start with, Stephen A.
What you think?
I'm saying the way
Aaron Rodgers, Jordan Love.
Yeah, the way they gonna call.
Of course, because it's Aaron Rodgers and now it's Jordan Love.
It's gonna be different.
Of course, it's gonna be different. That doesn't negate or diminish my intrigue. What I am saying to you, Keyshawn Johnson, is this: I'm thinking about the off season.
Yeah.
Getting away from COVID, getting back on the football field. I'm thinking about Brian Gutekunst. All right, Matt LaFleur. I'm thinking about them. You know, talking about the future, the quarterback position in Green Bay. I'm thinking about that dude, Jordan Love. I'm thinking about the fact that before this season, before Aaron Rodgers raised holy hell, they were like, hey, you ain't going nowhere, okay? But even if you decide to or whatever, even you're able to pull that off eventually, we good. Really? We about to find out. And by the way, here's what I love. We know that Kansas City defense ain't much. I mean, damn it, if you Jordan Love, lesson number 1, advice number 1, just target Sorensen. Target Daniel Sorensen. You'll be all right. I mean, that's the information we received. That's the information. Now, I'm sure Sorensen will get better. Damn it, you can't get no worse. But I mean, you got a dude going like this. I got the inside. Just take the outside, and you still gave up the outside. I mean, it's ridiculous, okay? So the point that I'm trying to make is, Darius Sorensen, one game after another, he makes He makes as many highlight reels as Patrick Mahomes this season. It's the truth. Go back and look at it.
He hasn't had his best year.
You're damn right he hasn't. So what I'm saying to you is this. If you Jordan Love, that's a good thing because I got somebody I can target. So I got 2 of my receivers coming back at least, maybe all 3. All right? I'm in the start lineup. All right? It ain't going to be garbage time, and I got a suspect defense with definitely a quarterback asking to be exposed.
Well, the problem
I want to see.
Going to have, though, Stephen,
I want to see.
The speed of the game is going to be fast for him. It's got to slow down immediately because he hasn't played. Mm-hmm. Even the little bit he played in the preseason, we kind of saw that, and it was like, no wonder they did whatever they needed to do to get Aaron Rodgers back in the saddle.
Okay.
They're not that convinced from everything that I've heard over the last 2 years that is the future at quarterback.
Okay.
Because when he had opportunities to play in training camp and things of that nature, they didn't walk away going, yeah, that's the next dude. It wasn't like that. It was always, yeah, I don't know about this. So it'll be interesting to see. Yeah. The good thing, again, is everything is there for him, hopefully, and all he has to do is maybe dink and dunk and hand the ball off and don't get caught up in trying to push the ball down the field. I know what you want him to do against this defense. All of a sudden, this defense look like the Pittsburgh Steelers.
I didn't say I want him to do anything. All I said was,
okay,
now that we know Aaron Rodgers is going to be gone, I'm curious. That's all I said.
Absolutely. And we want Aaron Rodgers to be back soon because they've got a tough schedule. Look at this Packers schedule. This is... Good day. Welcome back to First Take. We are coming to you live from above the Heineken River deck at Pier 17. Thank you so much for being with us. The Raiders cut receiver Henry Ruggs III late Tuesday night after his involvement in a fatal crash. The move came after Ruggs was released from a hospital into a Las Vegas jail on 2 felony charges after a fiery vehicle crash early on Tuesday left a woman and her dog dead, and Ruggs and his female passenger injured. Ruggs is scheduled to appear in court on Wednesday. And first, let me just say this. I am praying for everyone involved in this situation, including Ruggs. It's painful for everyone, even if self-inflicted, but there's no place for drinking and driving, period. Life is too precious, especially when you're an NFL player and you have all the resources, whether it's a car service, an Uber, call a friend, public transportation. And Stephen A., I know you echo that same sentiment.
It's very sad. My heart goes out to the person that lost their life and their loved ones. Obviously, you don't get on the road anticipating that something like this is going to happen to you. I'm really, really sad. I don't believe for 1 second that Henry Ruggs III intended for this to happen. But at the end of the day, accountability is necessary here because there is far, far, far too much evidence, too much historical data. And this is one of the things that has been put on the forefront of our society. Drinking under the influence, drinking while intoxicated is unacceptable. It's absolutely unacceptable. There is absolutely positively no excuse for you to be behind the wheel of a car if you are inebriated. Those are felony charges that have been filed against Henry Ruggs. And that's why the Raiders were completely appropriate in doing what they did. And I want to put up this number because I think it's important just as a public service announcement. I asked my great statisticians here to give me this. And look at that. Every day, about 28 people in the United States die in drunk driving crashes. That's one person every 52 minutes. But inside of an hour, every day, right now, as we're on First Take for these 2 hours, at least 2 people will die under a DUI. You know, we bring up the NFL, rightfully so, has brought the appropriate level of attention in recent memories to domestic violence and various other things. This is something that we need to be reminded deserves to be at the forefront of everything as well, because there are too many people that are being irresponsible, getting behind the wheel of an automobile and are killing other people because of it. And unfortunately, as we sit here today discussing an NFL topic, an NFL player was behind the wheel of a car, inebriated allegedly, because that's a felony DUI charge. And as a result, somebody has died because of it.
Yeah, I know Henry Ruggs III really, really well. And I've had conversations with him about just doing the right things as an NFL player. And then it burns me in the inside to have to hear about this yesterday as I was flying from LA to New York and got the text on my phone, and it was like, what, because I have a relationship, like a deep relationship with him. And so as I just sit here and I listen to you, Stephen A., on top of that, knowing the situation, it's just like, how could you not? And every single year, I remember when I first started working at ESPN, and Tom Jackson told me, every single year, we're going to have an issue like this until somebody in the NFL realizes that, like you said, Molly, pick up the phone, call a driver. If not a driver, now there's Ubers, there's Lyfts. Because when I played, there's a driver. Yeah. That's all we did. It was very simple and easy. You have all the resources at your disposal. There is no need to drive to a club. There's no need to drive somewhere when you know that you're going out to have a good time. Yeah. And there's just no need for it at all, because the people that you're trying to show your car off to ain't going to see it any damn way, because it's going to be in a parking lot or in a structure somewhere in Las Vegas. You're not like standing in front where people just there. And I don't know for the life of me what would make him at 22 years old get in that car and say to himself, I'm okay to drive. It drives me crazy.
Unfortunately, Keyshawn, that's exactly what it is. A lot of people get in the car because, like I said, that's why I used the word, it's non-intentional. Certainly he didn't intend for this to happen. Of course not. But the point that I'm trying to make is that you feel like, yeah, I'm all right.
No, I
can make it home.
Yeah, I get it. But another thing, though, is you don't have to. It's a lot of this times with these athletes and people in general, and I'm just going to speak to the athlete side of things, it becomes ego. It becomes, I could do this, because that's the way you feel like you could do everything. You're invincible. And in this situation, you don't become invincible. Not only does somebody lose their life, somebody lost their life in this accident, but also he's now affected not only their family lives, his own family lives too, because he was the breadwinner. He was the breadwinner to get his family up out of Alabama. And now all of a sudden,
special.
Now all of a sudden you've affected all of that.
Yeah.
The economics of the game is now affected. Now you get ready to face jail time.
Yeah.
And they're going to take it very serious in Las Vegas.
Because, well, first of all, they're going to take it very serious in Vegas. They're going to take it very serious because you're an NFL player.
That's true.
And if you want to use a dissuasive measure for the public at large to embrace and really highlight, listen, when Michael Vick got into the situation, I'm so proud of where he's at in his life right now. But when Michael Vick got in his situation with the dogs, Peter was at the forefront of everything. Why? Because you use that as an opportunity to highlight, animal rights. And acts against animal, animal cruelty. And so you do that. And when you have an opportunity to illuminate and shine a bright light on an issue, you're going to take advantage of that. So you're going to have, Mothers Against Drunk Drivers and others that are going to be at the forefront right now. And the NFL, and because it's an NFL player, you may have government officials, for example, and others trying to use this as an example to send a message to people about the importance of not driving under the influence. Yeah. This brother is in a world of trouble, and his career in the NFL is definitely stalled, and it might be over, depending on if he gets time and how much time he gets.
One thing that you said about, being a professional athlete and sharing, having an ego, and you're young, you're 22 years old, but also if you drink too much, it lowers your inhibitions. So there's that factor as well. And you tend to make bad decisions when alcohol is involved, excessive alcohol. So I just want to make sure to point that out as well. We'll leave it on that note, gentlemen. And again, praying for him, his family, the victim, everyone involved. Just what a tragedy. And again, what a learning lesson. There is no place for drinking and driving in society, especially in 2021. We have breaking news regarding Aaron Rodgers. I will share that with you after this break, and Stephen A. and Keyshawn will react. Again, don't go anywhere. Breaking news on Aaron Rodgers next on First Take. The undefeated Warriors host LaMelo Ball and the Hornets. Our coverage starts with NBA Countdown 7 Eastern on ESPN and the app. Staying in the NBA, 6-time champion and Bulls legend Scottie Pippen has a book coming out called Unguarded, where he airs out his side of the story regarding the Bulls dynasty and expresses his displeasure with Michael Jordan's ESPN documentary The Last Dance, and believes MJ's intention behind the documentary was self-serving and to solidify himself ahead of LeBron James. Now here's an excerpt released by GQ, Scottie saying this: "I was nothing more than a prop. His best teammate of all time, he called me. He couldn't have been more condescending if he tried. Each episode was the same. Michael on a pedestal. His teammates secondary, smaller. The message no different from when he referred to us back then as his supporting cast. From one season to the next, we received little or no credit whenever we won, but the bulk of the criticism when we lost. Michael Jordan would never have been Jordan without me, Horace Grant, Tony Kukoc, John Paxson, Steve Kerr, Dennis Rodman, Bill Cartwright, Ron Harper, B.J. Armstrong, Luke Longley, Will Perdue, Bill Wennington, and I apologize to anyone we've left out." I now want to bring in NBA insider Brian Windhorst this morning. Windy, thank you so much for being with us. And I will get to you in just a minute. Stephen A., I'm going to start with you. Is Scottie Pippen justified in these remarks?
No. I think he went over the line. Wendy, you know me. It's good to see you, my brother. Keep up the great work. I've been on the phone a lot last night and certainly over the last few months. A few months ago, I haven't spoken to Scottie Pippen in a few months, but I spoke to Scottie Pippen once Last Dance was on the air. I'm aware of his feelings. Obviously, I've spoken to Michael Jordan on numerous occasions, including last night. guys like Isaiah Thomas is relevant in this conversation as well, along with various others. Let me be very, very clear. Scottie Pippen should be ashamed of himself. Now, I'm not going to crucify Scottie because obviously he's in a different place mentally, and there must be a lot going on, and my heart goes out to him because this is clearly an underappreciated, or at least a person who feels he is underappreciated. And just in case you feel underappreciated, Scottie Pippen, let me remind you that the world recognizes you as one of the top 50 players in NBA history, a two-time Olympic gold medalist, a six-time champion. The entire decade of the 90s, the man was first-team all-defensive NBA, for crying out loud. The brother, him guarding Magic Johnson is what delivered the NBA championship for the first time to the Chicago Bulls. We all know the greatness of Scottie Pippen. Michael Jordan also knows that greatness, which is why Michael Jordan is on the record saying he's the greatest teammate that he ever had. So here we are nearly 30 years later, and this is what you do. It seems like Scottie Pippen is blaming Michael Jordan for what has ailed him. So let's go back in history because we need to correct the record. And if I sound like I am coming to the defense of Michael Jordan, you damn right I am. You damn right. Because he deserves to be defended in this regard. Scottie Pippen comes into the NBA in 1987. Scottie Pippen keeps bringing up how Michael Jordan was Michael Jordan because of us. Well, he was a champion because of y'all. And if he didn't win championships, clearly that would have been bad for his legacy, no doubt. But Wendy, do I need to remind anybody, and please let me see Wendy when I'm talking to her, do I need to remind anybody of who the hell Michael Jordan was before Scottie Pippen ever arrived? We're talking Michael Jordan. We're talking about the NBA, who was promoting Magic and Bird and said, well, wait a minute, pause. Even while the bad boy Detroit Pistons was interrupting the proceedings by winning back-to-back titles and going to 3 straight NBA finals, they said, pause. This dude right here is going to take our league to another stratosphere. This is when Michael Jordan was getting bounced out in the first round. That's how great he was to the human eye. So to act like, oh my goodness, we helped him win and that's what made Michael Jordan. No, it actually made y'all. That's number one. Number two, Scottie Pippen. We love you, bro. But there's no way to get around certain things. Number one, in 88, 89, if I remember correctly, Wendy, you got the migraine. Why did I bring up the migraine? Why did I bring up Isaiah Thomas? Because when the Jordan rules were implemented by Chuck Daly and the Detroit Pistons, they were called the Jordan rules. But ask Isaiah Thomas, who I also spoke to this morning. And by the way, who respects Scottie, even though Scottie told me personally, he wouldn't spit on Isaiah Thomas's grave if he wouldn't spit on Thomas if he was on fire. That's what he said months ago. That's what he said. Okay, he can't stand Isaiah Thomas. Okay, but Isaiah Thomas implemented the Jordan rules. Wendy, you know this. I'm sorry, Detroit Pistons implemented the Jordan rules. The Jordan rules wasn't just for Jordan. They were also for Scottie because they said screens, back picks, and other things. If you put Scottie Pippen through that, mentally, we believed we could take him out. And even though the migraine was real, we believed that's what caused the migraine. Okay? So then they win their first championship in 91. Jerry Reinsdorf is the owner of the Chicago Bulls. He tells Scottie Pippen, do not sign this 5-year, $18 million deal. I'm telling you right now, you'll be worth more in a year or two because I do not renegotiate in the middle of contracts. If you sign this deal, you're going to have to stick with it. Scottie Pippen, reflecting on his dad, God rest his soul, that was in a wheelchair, his brother who was in a wheelchair, remembering Darryl Stingley, who was paralyzed in New England Patriots by the late Jack Tatum on that hit in preseason from the Oakland Raiders to Darryl Stingley of the New England Patriots. Scottie Pippen remembered all of that and said, yo, I got to take this money now. Even though Reinsdorf personally told him, you're going to regret it. He still signed that deal. That's not Jordan's fault. And then, by the way, last but not least, did y'all know that on the basketball court, we ain't talking marketing, we ain't talking promotions, Wendy, on the basketball court, did you know that Scottie Pippen made more money than Michael Jordan? Michael Jordan never made more than $4 million a year for the first 11 years of his career. The last 2 years, he signed a $30 and a $33 million deal. And all the teams signed off on him getting that money because of what he meant to the league. Michael Jordan made $97 million in his career. Scottie Pippen made $107 million because he got 67.2 from Houston, ultimately moved to Portland, and he made the other money with the 30% of his salary with the Chicago Bulls. That's not Jordan's fault. And so when you look at all of those things that we bring into the equation, here you are nearly 3 decades later, and you're going to call this brother out because of the decisions that you made that inhibited your marketability, your promotional opportunities. And oh, by the way, The Last Dance, just to educate everybody, because The Last Dance was on ESPN, I spoke to former ESPN executive Connor Shell. Great man, great friend, great for the network. We miss him. Connor Shell, who had everything to do with producing The Last Dance. The Last Dance was recorded in 1998. Andy Thompson, the brother of Michael Thompson, the uncle of Klay Thompson, worked for the NBA for years and obviously followed Michael Jordan around for a year. That was with the Bulls' consent and Michael's consent and the players' consent. And then they got interviewed 2 to 3 years ago before The Last Dance. Everybody signed off on it. And all of a sudden, that's Jordan's fault too? So looking at all of these things, the most egregious part about this is what was written in the New York Post. Last comment. When Pippen said, quote, Pippen said, quote, I regret not giving my condolences to Michael Jordan at the passing of his father. His father passed away after the first three-peat. So you had year 1 without Michael Jordan, year 2, you had the 3 years you were with him for the second three-peat to express your condolences. You never did it. Michael Jordan never even thought about that until he saw it.
Yeah.
And then he realized, wait a minute.
That was intentional.
You didn't give me condolences on purpose. I didn't even think about this. He's crossed the line. Him and Jordan, it's over. Take it from me. It's over.
There was a lot right there. Wendy, I want to give you an opportunity to respond.
First thing I'm going to say is it's really, really hard to win in the NBA. It gets reminded to us all the time. These two men are held as the gold standard of championship teammates. And we just heard what Stephen A. said, and it's not the first time they've not spoken with each other in a while or been at odds with each other. This may be the worst, but this is not the first time. Now, I was not a teammate with Michael Jordan. I didn't know Michael Jordan in the 90s. I didn't know Scottie Pippen in the 90s, but I do know Scottie Pippen a little bit now. He was my teammate here at ESPN. And we talked about things, about his tenure with the Bulls and about how he's seen. And this is the thing you have to understand. There's nuance here to this, Stephen A. Scottie Pippen can be wrong about not coming into that game in 1994. And in my view, he can be very wrong, having the opportunity 25 years later to apologize for it and doubling down on it. That can be wrong. He can be delusional about certain things. But he does, I can understand why he is upset when he watches The Last Dance and he sees the migraine featured and he sees, the not coming into the game. He sees Jordan kicking him even though he wasn't on that team. He sees the issues with him not having the, delaying the knee surgery in 1997, basically as what Jordan said was a protest for not getting his contract redone. He sees those things highlighted and in his opinion doesn't feel that his greatness was highlighted. And this is the thing that you get to know when you hear from Scottie Pippen. It's not that he doesn't have the ultimate respect for Michael and appreciate everything. He just feels like there were times in his career he got short shrift. He feels like he got short shrift in The Last Dance. He feels like he got short shrift with his contract. And Stephen A., you are correct. Reinsdorf did tell him that. Absolutely. But Scottie still hurts to this day that when they were winning the titles, he was the 6th highest paid Chicago Bull. He still feels that. And so you're going it to him on a visceral level. So I don't think everything he's done is correct. I don't think all of his opinions make sense to me. But I understand why it was hurting with The Last Dance. And that explains why he lashed out in this book.
Wendy, let me be very clear. I'm not saying that he doesn't have a point to gripe about when he points out those things. But you do have an obligation to look at yourself. Like, for example, he's somebody that felt that he should have gotten more money. But it's important to remember Jordan wasn't getting the money from Reinsdorf either. It wasn't like Reinsdorf could have easily went to Jordan and ripped up his deal. Did Reinsdorf ever do that for Michael Jordan? Did that ever happen? Despite all the money that Jordan was bringing in to the Bulls organization, despite all the money that he was generating for the NBA and especially for the Bulls, WGN wouldn't exist. We wouldn't give a damn about it if it wasn't for Michael Jordan. Okay? Reinsdorf didn't rip up his deal. Jordan had to wait until his contract expired. Now, we glossed over it because Jordan made so much money off the court. But the bottom line is that was his marketability. He deserved to be the highest paid every year. Reinsdorf never once blinked at the notion of ripping up the contract to renegotiate with Michael Jordan. So if you don't renegotiate with Michael Jordan, why would you renegotiate with Scottie Pippen? And to tell Pippen that to his face, don't sign it. Who gets that? I went for contract negotiation. You've been in contract negotiations with it. When somebody say to us, look, don't sign, it's a bad deal. You'll get more money next year if you don't sign it.
You seem to do better than me.
Don't do it. Don't do it. Okay? But that's what Reinsdorf did for this man. The migraine. I'm sorry, not the migraine. The foot surgery that you delayed. Why was that relevant? Because it was about the last dance, the last season, when Jerry Krause, the GM, God rest his soul, told Phil Jackson, I don't care if you go 82-0, y'all ain't coming back next year. And they said, yo, this is it for us. And you delayed your foot surgery on purpose? Listen, it's the last dance. What is wrong with Jordan pointing that out, especially when it was all filmed 20 years ago and you knew about it when you did the interview 3 years ago or 2 years ago? It's like, wait a minute, Scottie Pippen, I understand this brother is one of the greatest. Anybody that knows anything about basketball, we don't just respect him, we revere his greatness. But to do this damn near 30 years later, when you're writing a book, it's like, damn, man. It's damn. That's all you can say.
Stephen A., both things can be true.
I agree.
His actions and his opinion of the documentary can be flawed, and he also can be hurting. And I can tell you, sitting in rooms and talking to Scottie about his career, sitting in rooms and talking to Scottie about in the current NBA, there were times where I felt incredible depth and empathy for him, and times I thought, I don't even know what you're talking about.
Deserves a check mark too.
There has been great communication. I've enjoyed the conversations with Brian that we've had throughout the year so far. Obviously, with Bobby getting hurt and with Kylan getting hurt, there's opportunities to add to the roster. But I like the roster the way it is. Look at our cap situation too. We had to adjust just about every contract to get under the cap, and there's obviously some issues with the cap moving forward. That's probably the reason why we weren't necessarily in the Stephon Gilmore sweepstakes, because we couldn't take on a big contract.
Listen, long-haired Rodgers living his best life. Stephen A., do you think he should stay in Green Bay now?
Hell no. But before I get there, let me say this. Number one, Pat McAfee. I'm a fan of Pat McAfee.
Yeah.
I like that brother, number one. But I'm tired of the damn tank tops. When you show up on WWE doing SmackDown and stuff like that, he does a very, very good job with that too, by the way. He usually got on a fly shirt. What's up with the tank top? You understand? If you ain't showing up with a tank top at the wrestling ring, even though you call in the matches instead of participating in them, you can show up with a nice shirt on your radio show. It is visual, by the way. That's number one.
I used to do a show with him on NFL Network, by the way, the middle of the night. I love Pat McAfee.
Love him to death.
He's a lot of fun.
Love him to death. I can't wait till he invites me on the show. And number two, as it pertains to Aaron Rodgers, I mean, you're a superstar quarterback. My brother, get some tips from Tom Brady on the suits and stuff. I mean, you got to spice it up. Just a nice haircut a little bit. That'll help as well. Now, having said all of that, let me say this.
Okay.
Hell no, he should have wanted to stay in Green Bay. The fact of the matter is that unless Brian Gutekunst came out publicly and apologized to Aaron Rodgers for the disrespect that he has treated him with all of these years, which led to all the turmoil this past offseason, he should stick to his game plan. He wasn't coming back to Green Bay to lose. He was coming back to Green Bay to remind everybody he's the reigning league MVP. He's still a bad man. Let me go out here and put us in a position to win a Super Bowl and bounce the hell up out of here. That is his plan. That is what he should stick to, and that is that.
Well, look, Stephen A., man, yeah, his plan was to get out of there last offseason. It didn't work out. He came back. If Aaron Rodgers goes to the Super Bowl, win or lose.
Win.
Let's just say he says he wins.
He ain't losing no AFC team.
Well, whatever, man. Win or lose.
Okay.
He needs to stay his butt right in Green Bay. You don't leave. You ain't getting nothing better. Where you going to get something better? Don't look at the Tom Brady model. Stop looking at that.
Why not?
Because,
Why not?
Okay, first of all, you winning. You done been to, that means you have gone to 3 NFC title games and a Super Bowl.
Right.
And you won the Super Bowl.
That's right.
Why would you pack your bag?
What?
And then you say he needs to apologize. He apologized by going and doing what the man wanted him to do. He went and got Randall Cobb. That's what you wanted. I got it done.
That's not enough.
What you mean?
That's not enough. That's not enough. Because first of all,
why do I need to? Why would I need to?
Will you stop it? Will you stop it? Both of y'all stop it.
What you mean?
I'm going to tell you why. I don't recall Green Bay watching the playoffs with everybody else. I recall them watching the Super Bowl, but I recall them being in back-to-back NFC championship games. So if in that scenario, it was still enough turmoil for you to want the hell out when you were in back-to-back NFC championship games, what's one game more? But that shouldn't change your mind. The fact of the matter is you weren't no scrub. You were in the NFC championship game. You won that.
Have you not ever changed your mind?
Excuse me.
Have you ever changed your mind?
Have you ever reconciled a relationship?
Not only the relationship.
It depends on what kind of relationship you have.
There we go.
It depends on what kind of relationship you ask
about.
It depends on what. I mean, in some situations, I would say no. I've moved on.
In some, yes.
I've moved on. I've upgraded.
In some, yes.
In some situations,
but where is he?
In some situations, no.
But where is he going to upgrade at? This is a Super Bowl team.
Excuse me.
Super Bowl team. Where's he upgrading at?
Excuse me. Tom Brady won 6 Super Bowls. He upgraded. I'm just saying to you like this. If you go to another situation.
Name one.
Listen to me. If you go to
Did you just try to use that argument, man?
Let me explain.
The New England argument when they didn't have no damn players?
Excuse me. What I'm trying to say to you is this. If Aaron Rodgers wins a Super Bowl, but he's happy elsewhere, and he wins a Super Bowl elsewhere while being happy, what's the problem?
But he's happy now in Green Bay. He just said it.
He knows
Keyshawn, hold on. Stephen A, you're evading the question. You haven't. I know he's very
can of all, boy.
He's from Queens. You haven't given me one city that's a better situation.
Pittsburgh.
Okay, so here's what I'm going to say to you.
Pittsburgh.
Here's what I'm going to say to you.
Yes.
Okay. I'm going to ask you this question. What control is he going to get over personnel in Pittsburgh?
Ain't about control.
No. But if that was the reason that we had these problems in the offseason,
no.
What you mean? The man said it.
No. That wasn't the only reason. Listen, excuse me. That wasn't the only reason. He had a problem. He had a personal issue with Brian Gutekunst. That's a fact.
Yes, he did. And part of that was because he didn't have
part of it, not all of it.
Stephen, ain't nothing all. It's all part of something.
Listen, man, this guy was walking into their office for years. They told him to get the hell out, shut the hell up.
Yes.
We run this team.
But then guess
That's how
what?
he was treated.
In the offseason, they realized we need to bend a little bit.
Okay.
Let's figure out if we can go get Clay Matthews Jr., if he can help us out. Let's figure out if Randall Cobb is the right situation. They did that. Now Aaron Rodgers is saying, I'm happy. I'm having fun.
We're running out of time. But
I'm enjoying it.
I disagree with you. You can't be happy.
Okay, let me ask you this question then. Where is he going to play with Devontae Adams at then?
Okay, he ain't going to play with that.
Pittsburgh ain't got no damn
I know that,
Devontae
but they got enough weapons.
So
they got enough weapons as a team to win a Super Bowl.
We're out of time. I have one.
You be making stuff up, man.
Making it up.
Yeah.
I ain't making it up.
You making it up in your mind.
No, you're not. You're making it up there.
All right, I just want you to know he's a Steelers fan.
Don't
come on first take. Can I tease this? Scottie Pippen
you got fam.
goes no holds barred. Don, obviously this is your nephew. Not to put you in an uncomfortable situation here, but what's your reaction to this? That he's done for the year, and he put out a long tweet. I'll try to get that up on the screen shortly.
Well, it's just disappointing. I was looking forward to seeing him come back in the next couple of weeks. It's like, I mean, you kind of, as a family member, you kind of know that there's a little bit of setbacks. It's not my job to tell the media what's going on inside my family. But now that it's out, it's like, surgeries, ankles, these sort of things happen to players in the league when you play for a long time and you breaking and cutting and doing all those different things. Hopefully he'll be able to resume his career after this year. I mean, that's really all you can say.
Here's what I'm going to say. I'm going to say a couple of things. And I'm going to be deadly serious with what I'm about to say. And I'm going to preface my comments by reminding the audience, Keyshawn's my brother. Keyshawn and I go back damn near 20 years, okay? So everybody can't say what I'm about to say to Keyshawn, okay? I can say it because we got that kind of relationship. I smell something, and I don't like it. And here's what I mean. First of all, Michael Thomas, I want you to know you all world. When you got your $100 million, $20 million a year, ain't a damn person with sense would question that you earned every penny. You deserve that contract. We know what a big-time baller you are. Season ended in January.
Mm-hmm.
You waited till June. You didn't have to wait till June. You told me June. I thought it was a little early. You told me June, right? We were on the air. You said June in terms of when he elected to have that surgery.
Mm-hmm.
Here's what I'm telling you, Smith. I'm just giving you just
Give
a
it
perspective.
Give it to me so I'm going to bounce it right back
That's
to
right.
you.
I feel you. That's why I'm telling it to you. I ain't going to say it behind your back. I'm going to tell it to your face.
Okay.
You know me. Keyshawn, Drew Brees is gone.
Yeah.
You wait to get the surgery. Jameis Winston's in there. Y'all winning games. You scheduled to come back. Jameis Winston go down. Now you out for the season.
Yeah, but that ain't it.
That ain't it. Fine. I'm just saying.
But the timing does smell when he says it that way. It does, Keyshawn. You have to admit it.
It's a setback.
And remember, I had no surgery, so I'm smelling a lot better. You understand? I'm smelling a lot better than I have in the past. There's something fishy about that.
But let's go back to the surgery.
Okay.
He came back. He was hurt in the playoffs. Okay. He played hurt in the playoffs.
Right.
Then he wanted to get a second and a third opinion in the offseason.
Mm-hmm.
Not him, them. See, people don't understand that because only one side says it, Stephen A.
That's right.
Now, I ain't going to let my family just dangle out there.
That's right.
Okay, and then when you make the decision to finally do it in June, well, they made it collectively. It wasn't all on him. They made it collectively.
Say it, but June?
That's what they, hey, man.
June?
Because in these situations, you want to try to let it heal on itself. And it wasn't healing as fast as they wanted it to. Then they said, okay, let's get the surgery. Now, all of a sudden, you say, I'm coming back 8 weeks into the season. Mm-hmm. And now you get a setback. It has nothing to do with Jameis Winston at all.
Okay.
But clearly, the Saints knew this. That's one of the reasons they wanted to go and try and get OBJ.
Mm-hmm. Right.
Well, why do you say you hope he can come back?
Well, because injuries, ankles, injuries, though.
Like Grant Hill basketball.
Yeah, but I'm just saying, at the level, you're talking career.
At the level,
you're saying
the level in which he can resume his career the same way he was playing at a Pro Bowl level.
Molly,
you hope that that's the case when you get these type of injuries.
Molly, to put it in perspective, Jalen Rose, you know him well, sat up there and said, hey, if Grant Hill's ankle didn't mess him up, he would have been on that top 75 team. Grant Hill, I'm here to tell you, may have been in the same conversation as Jordan and Kobe if Grant Hill had never had his ankle injured. And that's playing basketball, not football. So we got to take that into consideration. As it pertains to your nephew, here's what I'm going to do for you on First Take. I'm going to defer to you, my brother. That's your family. If that's what you say is happening, I'm rolling with it.
He'll be fine.
But I'm telling you, from the outside, it's like, damn, Drew Brees is gone. You ain't playing. You got the surgery. You supposed to come back and Jameis Winston go down.
No,
I'm just saying.
Did you hear what I said, Stephen A?
That's why I'm deferring.
The man played on 2 bad ankles in the playoffs late in the year.
No, I'm talking about.
No, but I'm saying if he wanted to out on the team, he'd have did it during the playoffs. He came.
Yeah, playoffs are different, though.
No.
Trying to win the Super Bowl, bro.
No, he got out there. He got out there on bad wheels.
Yeah, okay.
You don't think he would get out there on bad wheels right now?
I'm saying to you.
In fact, he liked the quarterback.
I'm saying to you.
I'm just telling you.
I'm saying to you. I believe you, but I'm telling you right now, you needed to be on the show. Because if you want
they asked me to lay out, man.
If you weren't sitting there, I'd have went in. That's all I'm saying. If you weren't sitting there, if I didn't have you to validate
the Johnson family's lucky day. Is Aaron Rodgers winning in Green Bay? Check. Having fun in Green Bay? Check. Joining his favorite show with Pat McAfee? Check. And having a change of heart towards Brian Gutekunst? I'll let you decide if that's
OBJ, Odell Beckham Jr., Michael Thomas, and the New Orleans Saints. And I don't know, Keyshawn, if you heard the news. Did you hear about Scottie Pippen going at Michael Jordan? He has done something very, very few people in this world could ever do to Michael Jordan. And I'm here to tell you, damn, what a mistake that was. Oh, I got something for y'all. And my boy Keyshawn always got something for y'all. He even got on a nice fresh suit looking good today. Molly, she always looks great, but I don't feel like complimenting Benedict on it. First Takes in the house. Let's go. Odell Beckham Jr. got to get the hell up out of there. He can't stay in Cleveland.
He just does not fit what the plan is for this football team.
We have to find ways to get the ball in his hands.
First and foremost, I need to do a better job.
Odell Beckham Jr. is far from done.
Baker Mayfield took that team to the playoffs without him last year. You got to get rid of one of them?
I can't sit there and lie like I don't want the ball. They don't pay James Harden for defense. You know what I mean? He's a shooter. I feel like I'm a shooter.
It's going to be toxic. I'm not sure at the present time it's fixable.
Good day. Welcome into First Take. The state of Georgia just winning right now. The Bulldogs top of the poll and the Braves World Series champs. Huge congratulations, L. Duncan. Congratulations.
That's how you close it out, though. If you're going to win, to go on the road and smack a team around like that 7-0 on the road, you a champion.
Yeah, I'm a little disappointed, though, because I wanted Dusty.
So did I.
So did I. Wanted Dusty.
But he made a couple of errors, you know.
I know,
not yesterday.
It's like, it just keep happening to him, man.
A couple of games, the guys he left in the game, I mean, it keeps happening.
It happens to him every time he gets in this position.
I root for him
something
so hard,
goes wrong.
It didn't happen.
But I'm happy for the city of Atlanta.
Yes.
Keyshawn Johnson, Stephen A. Smith, I'm Molly Karen Rose. Let's go. The NFL trade deadline has come and gone, and Odell Beckham Jr. still a Cleveland Brown. Things getting kind of messy, fellas. Odell's father posted a video on social media early Tuesday highlighting times when Browns quarterback Baker Mayfield didn't throw the ball to Beckham when he was open. Odell Beckham Sr. then responded with 3 green check marks in the comment section of a post that said Mayfield was either hating on Odell or he just doesn't want him shining. Cleveland's favorite son, that would be LeBron James, adding this, tweeting Tuesday, OBJ will show again why he's special. Wide receiver 1, free OBJ. Okay, Stephen A., I will start with you.
Yeah.
What does Odell need to do now?
He needs to get the hell up out of Cleveland. That's my position. He needs to get the hell up out of Cleveland. He doesn't want to be there. He's made it very, very clear he wants to be there. I do not condone his father chiming in on social media the way that he did. No, Odell Beckham Jr., that's you, bro. Nobody's going to believe it's just your daddy. Nobody's going to believe that. They're going to believe it's you, okay? And so that comes across as childish and immature, and that is not a good look for Odell Beckham Jr. But I do understand his level of frustration. He is absolutely, positively miserable. His soul ain't even there to play some football with Baker Mayfield, okay? It's clear. Anybody that talks to Odell Beckham Jr., he'll tell them this. This is how he feels. And if you're the Cleveland Browns, okay, you have to understand this. One of the things that I pointed out, Keyshawn, and I wanted to throw this your way, because I said this to Jeff Saturday the other day and Swaggo and all of them. I'm like, listen, man, we ain't talking about just football per se. I know it's football, but that's not what I'm alluding to. I'm not talking about one's ability. I don't think there's significant slippage on Odell Beckham Jr. I just don't think he wants to be there. He's miserable, and he's trying to get himself out. So, not quite like James Harden did in Houston, but something along those lines. Like, he's making a business decision. Ain't going up the middle, catching this pass with this guy. Throwing the ball.
That for sure
it's a business decision. That's what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
That's all I mean by that, okay? And because he doesn't have faith in Baker Mayfield, he doesn't believe Baker Mayfield targets him during the game. You dropped 42 points against the Chargers. You only targeted 3 times. The other day, you get targeted 1 time the entire game. The most times you got targeted, I think you got targeted like 8 times. That was in a blowout loss to Arizona. You just see some of it. You hear about stuff in practice where he ain't even catching passes. He ain't even getting passes thrown to him in practice. When you got all of this stuff going on and it's that bad, it's about a relationship that's virtually non-existent between you and the quarterback. And when that happens, Keyshawn, when it's that bad, you can't keep a dude like that in your locker room. You got to send him elsewhere. It's one thing, like if Keyshawn Johnson, if you got a problem with the coach, you understand, that's different. You ain't got a problem. You ain't got a problem with the quarterback.
No, I never had a problem with the quarterback.
That's what I'm saying. If you're a wide receiver and you genuinely don't mess with your quarterback, and he genuinely don't mess with you, and both of y'all got egos, and you watching this brother be celebrated, you don't think he deserves it. He damn sure don't want you to be celebrated because he's the man in Cleveland, at least for the moment, Baker Mayfield. That's just a time bomb waited to explode, if it hasn't already, because Cleveland, let's face it, they're grossly underachieving. Yes. We all know that, and it has a lot to do with Odell Beckham Jr. not being utilized. Can
I ask you this? Because I'm torn on this. Because part of me says, you know, there's a lot of things in my life that I wish were different. But you make the best of it. You show up, right? Yeah. And you don't cry. You don't get other people involved. But at the same time, they are wasting his talent. So where are you on this?
Well, I got you. But let me say something to Stephen A. real quick. I disagree with you, Stephen A. about his dad.
Okay.
Can't control his father. I understand what it looks like. Yes, you convey to your family the way you feel. Not only that, his dad is sitting there. He raised him. He knows his son's body language and how he feels. He understands the game. He knows that his son is open. He watches just like us. So can OBJ go to dad and say, Pops, just chill, just chill? He could do that. Maybe he has done that, and the father is making a decision that I don't give a damn. You my baby. It's just like you and your family. Your sisters ain't getting ready to let nobody talk crazy to them about you.
Question. I'm not talking about a tweet or a comment. I'm talking about compiling a video.
Well, you can't.
I'm just saying. Does that ring?
He got a. First of all,
it's a question. Does that ring like that's something that you did without your son's knowledge or consent? I'm asking.
To me, because the way I look at it, he's got a young father, man. He ain't got no dinosaur as a daddy.
Right.
I mean, Tom Brady's father went at the New England Patriots in the way they dealt with his son.
He just talked.
This is just but it's the way we living right now, though, Stephen A. Right?
Okay.
Social media.
Fair point.
Back to your question, Molly. I had a conversation with OBJ, and this is the first time I ever shared this. When I was out in LA, I went to the Charger game, and I'm at watching, and I'm watching his body language and everything. So after the game, I go down below, and you know how we do, Stephen A. We go holler at people.
That's right.
So I put, as soon as he walked up to me, like, big bro, said, you don't need to tell me. I get it. I see it.
Yeah.
Here's what I need you to do for me, though. If they don't move you by the trade deadline, don't say anything. Just keep playing
So you
football.
told him that? You told him
100%.
Okay.
Just keep playing football.
Right.
Because eventually you're going to be gone.
Right.
This is the end of your Cleveland stay.
Yeah.
They may not move you, even though they tried. The numbers didn't work out with the Saints because clearly we have information later on about Michael Thomas. The Saints must have knew something and said, we got to make a run at OBJ. That didn't work out. So what I told him is just at the end of the year, you are auditioning from here on out for other teams when you become a free agent because your cap number is going to be large. They're going to probably try and trade you. It's not going to work. They're going to whack you. Yeah. And then you'll be able to go and pick a team where you and your skill set helps you. And it's not all about the quarterback in this situation. Baker Mayfield needs to target his receiver more. Right. And how you do that is by the design of the play, Stephen A. If I make you my first read and I put Molly over here to the right and you're looking straight ahead of me, I got to get you the football. But if I tell you with my scheme to look at Molly, then look at OBJ, then guess where I'm going to probably throw the ball? I'm probably going to throw it to Molly. Right. But if I'm told to stay on you, then I'm staying on you. So I know what it looks like, right? I know what it looks like. It looks like he's not deliberately getting him the football, but it's all about the targets. The targets is about the offensive coordinator and play caller.
I feel you, but a quick comment here. You and I both know, because we both know OBJ. We've spoken to him. Here's the deal. He don't mention Kevin Stefanski nearly as much as he mentions Baker Mayfield.
I understand.
And so what I'm saying to you is that I understand. I'm not challenging what you're saying at all. The only thing that I'm saying to you is you and I both know what you're saying, he knows. So if you have a conversation with him and he's like, yo, big bro, it's me and this guy.
The conversation is really deep, but I don't.
I'm not asking you. I'm not. Same here. Same here. You see me dancing. I mean, there's certain things you just ain't gonna reveal. But what I'm just saying to you is that you and I both know, even though you make total sense, he knows that, and still, he mentions
the quarterback.
The quarterback.
Yeah, but the quarterback has to be the guy that avoids and just do what the best receiver is capable of helping him do.
But at the end of the day, what Keyshawn said, from here on out, it is an audition, how he conducts himself on and off the field.
Right.
Breaking news out of New Orleans, speaking of star receivers, Michael Thomas announcing minutes ago on Twitter that he will not play the season after experiencing a setback in his...
What about the Packers themselves as an individual organization? What kind of policy do they have as it pertains to being vaccinated for COVID-19?
Yes, Stephen A., it's a good question. So as far as players goes, there is no policy. They cannot force anyone. That's agreed upon between the NFL Players Association and the league. All Packers coaches and staff members have been vaccinated. They did play without their defensive coordinator, Joe Barry, last week. Of course, he is vaccinated because he's a staff member. The interesting thing that happened yesterday that made me wonder if this was on the horizon, Stephen A., was that Kurt Benkert, who is their practice squad quarterback, tweeted yesterday midday that he has COVID. And right away, you're thinking, okay, this is a guy who's in the quarterback room. He's close to, obviously, Rodgers and Jordan Love. Could there possibly be a positive test coming? And, of course, we wouldn't know that until they tested today. They tested this morning. I'm actually sitting right outside the testing area because I have to go in as a media member and get my once-a-week test. But he tested this morning, and it was clearly returned as a positive test.
Rob, how do the Packers feel about Jordan Love? Because over the last couple training camps, it wasn't high regard for him at the quarterback spot. What are they feeling now that he's getting ready to take over for Sunday?
Yeah, if I remember right, we asked General Manager Brian Gutekunst right after like the last week of training camp what he thought of Love's performance this summer, and I believe he used the word either excellent or outstanding. I'm gonna have to go back and look exactly what the word it was. And at the time, that seemed like a little bit of a stretch to me. I mean, he definitely made strides. He definitely had days where he looked like, okay, this is why they drafted him in the first round. But there were just as many moments where, you know, he looked off target, inaccurate, and maybe unsure of himself. Well, there's no more time for that now, especially going against, you know, I know the Chiefs aren't what they thought they would be, but they're still a pretty stout defense, and this is going to be, you know, Jordan Love getting thrown in with, you know, little or no advanced preparation other than a normal week of practice.
Rob, thank you so much. I appreciate it. And please keep us posted if you get more on whether or not he was actually deemed vaccinated. Very interesting.
I really appreciate
Rob,
it.
thank you.
Guys.
Thanks, Rob.
Take care.
Really appreciate the intel Rob just dropped on us. I actually thought he was vaccinated. I could have sworn I saw him say he was vaccinated, but then Rob just explained it. That was where he said I was immunized.
Yeah.
You know, and
but he didn't say yes or no.
Yeah,
so
he didn't say yes or no. I'm here thinking he had been vaccinated all that time, but evidently he wasn't. Now, that's a different ballgame.
And that can have implications. But as of right now, the earliest he can return, according to NFLPA protocols, is November 13th. Again, that's a Saturday before, the day before that Seattle game. So now things are getting a little murkier when we're talking about...
Not just murkier, but significantly more serious, because we got to be honest here. We've talked about this on the show on several occasions, where we gave out the numbers, that the dissipated numbers of hospitalizations and deaths with those that are vaccinated compared to those who are not. And so as a result of that, when you're not vaccinated, who knows what kind of devastating effect the vaccine. I mean, again, I'm sitting here thinking he was vaccinated. It ain't the case. Maybe not.
It may not be the case.
Maybe not.
But, Keyshawn, before we go to break here, when we're talking, okay, Chiefs, Seahawks, Rams, then they have the Ravens. These are all that wasn't in order. But these are tough teams, and now having Jordan and other teammates could potentially be down, contact tracing. That affects things when we're talking playoffs and seedings now. It gets a little more serious on the field as well.
It does, because, like he said, the practice squad guy was in the room. So how close was he to Jordan Love? How close was he to Aaron Rodgers? Other coaches, things of that nature.
Absolutely.
Other players, as time goes by, I'm sure the Green Bay Packers will have some other players that will have to go into the protocol. I'm sure. Because it's too close.
NFL has been on top of it all season long.
They've done a tremendous job. We haven't missed a game.
It doesn't mean that you still can't.
Justified in these comments.
I don't know. That's a hard question, Molly. There's so many angles to this. You know, we're not talking about it, but in that excerpt that was in GQ, he absolutely slams John Paxson, who he won 3 titles with. John Paxson, he even called him after the Last Dance aired, basically to offer that he felt bad. And he felt, Scotty says in the book, that he felt that it was Jordan who got Paxson to call, and then he slams Paxson for doing it, rips him in the book viciously. And that just shows me that he is feeling so much anger and hurt over this documentary, and it brings up so many difficult feelings from years ago. And you know, the older I get, the more I cover the NBA. This is my 19th year covering the NBA. The more I realize that people like David Stern and Pat Riley are so sage in some of the things that they say, and some of the things that Pat Riley has said and written about championship teams and the difficulty of people wanting more when they win. Scottie Pippen showing the hurt and how he's wanted more for all this time. It's really a window into the remarkability of those championship runs and how difficult it is to be a teammate of a champion like Michael Jordan.
Well, Brian, first of all, I appreciate where you're coming from. You know how much I respect your perspective and your work, my brother. You know that. Well, let me say this to you. We use the word empathy, Wendy, to describe how we should feel about Scottie Pippen. To some degree, I think you're right. I like Scottie. And Scottie is one of the all-time greats. he didn't need to make the 75 list. He was on the 50 list. And he deserved it. 6-time champion, 2-time Olympic gold medalist, one of the greatest defensive players this game has ever seen. There's no question about Scottie Pippen. And Michael Jordan himself has acknowledged on many occasions, publicly and privately, that he'd never be a champion that he was without Scottie Pippen. We know that. Scottie Pippen, however, I wouldn't totally go the empathy route, not just because a lot of it was self-inflicted in terms of his troubles and his issues, but also because some of it is self-imagined. This notion that he's not respected, this notion that he's not appreciated, that's just patently false. Anybody who knows the game of basketball knows what Scottie Pippen was. It's just that you still were not Michael Jordan. That's the crime. Now, let me understand something here. Jordan was hurt his second year in the league, played 18 games. I'm going to give you his first 7 complete seasons, Keyshawn. He averaged 28.2 points as a rookie, 37.1, 35, 32.5, 33.6, 31.5, 30. His first 7 years in the NBA. 3 of those years were without Scottie Pippen. The NBA was marketing dunks and marketing the extraordinary skills of a Michael Jordan. That was what was going to propel the league to an international, global, iconic brand. And it was solidified with the Dream Team, the Barcelona Olympics, in which Scottie Pippen was a part of, and Isaiah Thomas got hosed out of being a part of, in part because of Scottie Pippen. I bring up Scottie Pippen because even though Jordan and others weren't keen about Isaiah Thomas, Scottie Pippen proudly will acknowledge he had something to do. He gave opinions about how he didn't want Isaiah Thomas on the team. Does that deserve empathy? I don't think so. I don't think so. And so when I look at Scottie Pippen and he's talking this way and he's coming across as a victim, I'm saying, my brother, a lot of it you did to you. It wasn't Jordan. And then, key, to acknowledge, according to the New York Post, that you regret not giving Michael Jordan condolences when his father passed.
Oh, well, you listen right there.
Listen to this. Listen to this. You did that. That's when, before Jordan retired after the first three-peat, the 2 years he was gone, when you welcomed him back and you three-peated again and beyond all of those years, you acknowledge that you didn't do that. What does that mean, Key? What does that mean, Wendy? That means you did that on purpose.
Deliberately.
Michael Jordan, the Michael Jordan I know, that I speak to, he will never forget that. There's a line that was crossed here. And then, oh, by the way, Phil Jackson's been called a lot of things. You know me, I love Phil Jackson, the coach. I despise Phil Jackson, the executive, because of what he did to my Knicks. We know that, okay? Phil Jackson a racist? He called Phil Jackson a racist. 28 years later. Come on, man. I can't give empathy totally with that. I know he's hurting, but you know what? You got to look at the hurt you inflicted. Somebody got to.
But what I would say, though, about the documentary, The Last Dance, yeah, it's a lot about Michael. But Michael, for all intents and purposes, was the Chicago Bulls. Yeah, you're going to tell the story of Dennis Rodman, and you're going to tell the story of Paxton and Kerr, and you're going to tell the story to a degree of Scottie Pippen. But this sounds like, to me, an all-out assault, clearly on Michael Jordan for whatever reason there is. Whatever happened along those lines, Scottie can't get over that. And let's not forget, when Scottie had the opportunity to close the deal, he had a migraine. When Scottie had an opportunity to take the shot, I mean, Kukoc didn't. He didn't want to be a part of it. He decided to check out. Michael Jordan had the flu. He dropped 30-plus points.
35.
35. You gave me the right number. So, to me, it's kind of like you will never be MJ. You always are going to be known as a guy who helped MJ win championships at a high level. Like you said, Stephen A., 6 championships, 2 gold medals, all that, top 50 player all time. But you're never, ever going to ever see Michael Jordan. It's just not going to happen.
We don't think anybody's ever going to be Michael Jordan.
You got to bow down to that sort of stuff.
LeBron James, and that's where I want to go next. And I want you all to react. Wendy, I'll start with you here, though. Another part of the excerpt that certainly raised some eyebrows is when Scottie said Michael was determined to prove to the current generation of fans that he was larger than life during his day and still larger than LeBron James, the player many consider his equal, if not his superior. Mm-hmm. Wendy, is Jordan insecure about LeBron?
Well, I have to say that in speaking with Scotty about this, he was always very, very careful with how he talked about LeBron on air at ESPN because he knew Michael was always watching. And I remember vividly a conversation that I had sitting with Kevin Love and Scottie Pippen at the All-Star game in LA a few years ago, where they talked about being teammates. Love talked about being LeBron's teammate. Scottie talked about being Michael's teammate. And I wish I could share that conversation because that would be a book. So I know that Scotty has feelings about this. And it is also true that the Jordan-LeBron relationship is a complicated one. Listening to LeBron describe the first time he met Michael Jordan at age 16, he compared it to meeting the Messiah. That is the level he put that moment on. He obviously wore 23, signed with Nike. He wanted nothing more than to be close to Michael Jordan, and Jordan never embraced that, and they never were close. And here we have LeBron years later wearing another number, which he did midway through his career. So it's very complicated. I don't know how Jordan truly feels on this, but
it ain't complicated, Wendy. Let me break this down to y'all. Listen, y'all just gonna have to figure this out. How the hell I know?
Leave me a few minutes.
I got you. How the hell I know? Let's get this out of the way right there. Please, this brother ain't no insecure about LeBron James. Let me be very, very clear. And Wendy, that smile on your face, I'm gonna put an even bigger smile on your face because when I say this stuff, you're gonna get a bit nostalgic. The road to prosperity is what must be taken into consideration. Why do I say Michael Jordan is the greatest ever? It's not just because of the aerial assault, the killer in him, and all of this other stuff that it took LeBron years to develop that Michael Jordan had coming into the league. Who was Michael Jordan going against? Who did he have to go through? There was Bird, the Dominiques, the Bad Boy Pistons, okay? And then ultimately it was Magic, and then ultimately it was Drexler and Porter and the boys, and then ultimately it was Barkley, and it was Kevin Johnson and Dan Marley, and then it was Sean Kemp before he became Sean Klump. It was the Glove, Gary Payton. It was Karl Malone, Utah, and all of this other stuff. Same team, never left, was there from the beginning when they were trash, helped develop Scottie Pippen and everybody else. Just like they helped him, he clearly helped them develop that killer within because the Pistons with the bad boys knew that the Jordan rules could weaken everybody around Jordan, and they knew there was dissension within the Chicago Bulls ranks because Jordan shot the ball a lot, and it was Phil that had to come along, Key, and convince him to trust his teammates. So they try to make the other teammates weak so it would encourage Jordan to continue to not trust them. These are all the things they had to go through. When did LeBron have to go through that? LeBron didn't have to go through that. You know what he did? He went to Miami with D. Wade and Bosh. And then he went back to Cleveland with Kyrie and Kevin Love after he learned how to win. And then after that, he's in L.A. with Anthony Davis. MJ didn't do that. So LeBron, that's why he's number 2 on Mount Rushmore, all-time 2 or 3. You can pick between him and Kareem. But that's why he's number 2 to me, because the road that he had to travel, no matter what anybody says, just look at the Cupcake Eastern Conference that LeBron was in for the most part in his career. That was not what Michael Jordan had to endure. I rest my case with that. Floor is yours.
Well, look, both of them did it differently. There's no, both of them did it differently. And LeBron is LeBron James, and he's great for his era and what he's able to do. When you talk about being insecure, the guy that I know in Michael Jordan, the guy that took me under his wing as a young pup in New York City as a football player, insecure.
Please.
That man got so much, just like he's competitive at every single thing that there is. He knows at the end of the day, LBJ won't touch him. I mean, you can have that argument all day long if you choose to. I'll never have that argument. LeBron James is going to be who he is. Michael Jordan is going to be who he is. There is no insecurity at all with MJ. Think about all the confidence you're talking about in this dude, in the swag. Yeah. He created the damn
his
shoe
airness,
game.
Yeah.
Molly, we got to go.
Yeah,
Molly, we got to go. The only insecurity MJ has is the media. Record history properly. That's it.
Well, that's different.
Guess what? The book hasn't even come out yet, so this story's not going away. Wendy, thank you.